Hey guys, Rexter here, and in today's video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the story of the abandoned children's camp known as Joyville. This is the latest mascot horror game that is taking the internet by storm, and we're going to be going over all of the storyline details as well as some secrets that you might have missed in your initial playthrough. And what we uncover is actually quite chilling, as we'll also be going over some of the hidden VHS tapes, and of course, the horrifying details that come along with them. Not to mention taking a deep dive into this terrifying new series and what it means for the future of the game. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and grab a snack and a drink, and let's go ahead and dive in. But before we get into that, if you're sick and tired of these mascot horror games, then I have a game for you. Which brings me to the sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. Did you know that Raid Shadow Legends has 700 plus unique champions, 15 awesome factions, 12 imposing dungeons to conquer, engaging PvP combat, and of course, endless customization. Not to mention, Raid Shadow Legends is probably one of the most context-filled games on the planet. And speaking of planet, it covers over 400 million players in over 190 countries. And you can join them today just by using the link in the description down below, downloading it on both mobile or desktop. Now, one thing I personally enjoy about Raid Shadow Legends is the PvP arena, which allows players to fight against each other in real time in 4v4 champion battles. And now, if you log into Raid Shadow Legends 7 different days between August 22nd and October 23rd, you can actually get your hands on the awesome new champion, Sun Wukong, as this mischievous Monkey King is coming as a free legendary champion. And all you have to do is just log in. Nothing else. That's it. So with all this exciting stuff coming to Raid Shadow Legends, if you haven't started playing yet, then what are you waiting for? Not to mention, new players have a chance at getting the epic champion Stag Knight, as well as a skin for him designed by JonTron himself. All you have to do is use promo code JTSkin before October 7th. And if you click my link or scan the QR code right above, you will actually get a free starter pack with this cool in-game loot shown on screen. And thanks once again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Now let's go ahead and jump back in. Decades after the mysterious closure of Joyville, we finally arrive back into the lobby. This is the same place where our character had so many wonderful childhood memories. However, now it is filled with a haunted history, not to mention sinister secrets that lie buried deep in the darkness. Looking to our right, we finally get our first glimpse at our beloved friend, Wolly Bully, except for now, he looks a bit different. Making our way over to the elevator, we notice that there's no power running to it, and unfortunately, that is the only way up to the Joyville play area. As we search for a generator, we come across a newspaper article, which summarizes the arrest of Harrison Vanderbilt, also known as the founder of Joyville. As children and employees of Joyville have gone missing, and with each passing moment, without concrete answers, it deepens the anguish and despair felt by the families affected by the tragedy. As we continue on our journey, however, we come across a security office. And in this office, you'll notice that there's 4 different camera monitors, but the one on the right is the one I want to point out in particular, as we see Wolly Bully has been locked away in containment. However, this won't last for long, but more on that later. Shuffling through a couple of drawers, we end up finding a key, and we can now use this key to walk over to the generator. After aligning these colored wires to the corresponding numbers found on the bumper cars outside, we get the power going. But it's not time to leave just yet. Making our way over to the storage closet, we see a camcorder on the floor. Picking it up, it shows us the horrifying details of what looks to be a man named Ethan Jenkins' last night alive.
Is this thing even recording? Okay. I don't know what's happening here, but something is terribly wrong. Everyone, all the children and the other employees, they vanished without a trace. I'm the only one left, and I don't understand why. I saw it. It's a creature so horrifying it haunts my every waking thought. Its appearance, it defied all natural laws. It had eyes in its mouth. Can you imagine? It's like a nightmare brought to life. I can't even begin to fathom its purpose or origin. That shadow, it was just here, right outside. It's out there, somewhere, roaming in Joyville, searching. What does it want? Why is this happening? need help. I need to reach out to someone, anyone who can explain this. If you're watching this, please send help. I'm trapped, terrified. I don't know how much longer I can hope.
And sadly, this is the first glimpse of the true horrors that now hide behind the walls that brought us so many kind memories. And unfortunately, this won't be the last time that we see Wolly Bully. However, now that the elevator does have power, we hit the button and head up. Once arriving, you'll see a room that looks very similar to something that you would find in Poppy Playtime, with different colorful doors and of course a rainbow-like pattern that goes straight to the horrifying Wolly Bully door. You'll also notice a panel comes out of the wall and it looks like it wants us to put a bear on it. And after making our way to the end of the hallway, we come across a green door, and inside of this green door looks to be some type of a locker room for the employees. And bingo, there's our bear. But picking up this bear actually cues another VHS tape on the camcorder.
Hi there. If anyone is watching this, please listen carefully. My name is Ethan Jenkins, and I work at Joyville. Something terrible has happened, and I don't have much time to explain. But there's something important you need to know about this teddy bear. This teddy bear is no ordinary toy. It has a special chip embedded in it, a chip that can do incredible things. It's a long story. I can't risk revealing it on camera because I don't know who might find it, but I can tell you this much. It opens doors. It has a purpose beyond that, but I can't go into detail right now.
Giving us very little detail, Ethan Jenkins once again gives us an inside look at what has happened the moments before Joyville went downhill. He also explains that this bear will open up doors, and that's exactly what we're about to do. After placing the bear on the door scanner, we're allowed in, and as we step into the shadows, the building begins to light up, illuminating the once wondrous Joyville. And as we step forward, a video begins to play on the monitor that's hanging from the ceiling. This video is narrated by none other than the owner of Joyville himself, Harrison Vanderbilt, who discusses that the specific goal of Joyville was actually to ignite and spark joy in all the children. And this is a place to create such beautiful memories and experience unparalleled joy. At least that is, however, until... Was that the creature that's behind all the madness? Either way, we are now locked inside of this room, which leads us to our second puzzle of the game. And after grabbing our Joy Wheel ticket, we head over to the sunflower-like machine. And after placing our bear and inserting our ticket, the machine begins to light up. Now this puzzle is actually quite simple. All you have to do is match the corresponding colors with the rainbow picture that is on the machine. However, if you get it wrong, that giant worm that sits above the machine will eat you alive. However, once completing the puzzle, the green doors open up. However, this room looks a lot less happy. And as we begin to walk across these very sketchy wooden beams, we fall through. Slowly coming to our senses, we notice some eyes glowing off in the shadows. And after quickly picking up our flashlight, we now know we are not alone down here, as there is a giant purple worm staring at us from the distance, very similar to the orange one on top of the rainbow machine. But with no other choice, we begin heading in the direction of the worm. And as we go through these tunnels, we notice a very distinct slime all over the walls and the ground, eventually stumbling across a red version of it, which looks very similar to human blood. And after taking a few steps, we notice another horrifying new red worm. However, once approached, it crawls back into the shadows. And later on in the game, we actually find out that this red worm's name is Morty, but more on that later, as we are now approaching our third puzzle and our first glimpse at our bear's charger. But first, we need to find the lever. And in order to do that, you need to stack a couple of boxes over to the right-hand side. Once stacking enough boxes, you make it over the shelf and find the handle. After placing the handle on the switch, you're able to flip both switches, activating the charger. After placing the bear in the charger, we get a full 100% bear. And making our way over to the gated doorway, we're able to put our bear on this tablet, opening it. This leads us to a hallway filled with multiple different colored doors, all aligning to different sectors around the building. However, our focus is on the game room as we step inside the elevator and head up. Once stepping out of the doors, we see a wall that is covered with the word evil, and to the left, we see some familiar friends, as we see the worms that we've come in contact with to this point, excluding the orange one. And after stepping a little bit closer, the lights go out. Now, one thing I did want to point out, this evil door actually has a new tablet screen, and it looks to be requesting a bunny-like stuffed animal. Now, I believe that this bunny is somewhere within the building, maybe in one of the sectors that we previously walked by going into the game room. And it's definitely something I will go back into the game and try and find. But for now, we need to step through these doors. And after walking through them, you'll notice this is a room we've been in before. It's covered in darkness, but we're actually in the main playroom. Walking a bit further, you come across a slide, which is very similar to the one that we find in the daycare of FNAF Security Breach. It's even covered with a sun, which is somewhat ironic. But after sliding down, you notice that there's a door that is now open at the end of the room. As curiosity usually kills the cat, we walk over to the door, and we're met with quite the surprise, as we see Wolly Bully for the very first time in person. As he begins to chase us through the playroom, we have only one way to escape, and that's to climb back up into the slide that we came from. However, after climbing up just a bit, you realize you cannot make it up to the top, and Wolly Bully is reaching through, ready to grab you as his next victim. However, for some mysterious reason, he leaves, and the lights of the playroom turn back on. But lucky for us, he left the door open, and that's exactly where we're heading. The room that we walk into, though, is actually really strange. It looks like a giant ball pit room, filled with a maze that you would see at like an old school Chuck E. Cheese or an amusement park. And unfortunately, this room is actually just one giant puzzle. And this puzzle involves putting different colored blocks on the correlating platforms. And after spending some time, we finally unlock the door at the end of the room. And making our way through, this looks a lot different than what we've experienced with the happy-go-lucky colors and the joyous area of the playroom. This place now looks a lot duller and much more creepy. And walking down the stairs, you notice that gates begin to close right in front of our faces, leaving us with no escape. And then, to make matters worse, some balls begin to roll down the stairway. And that means something or someone has knocked them over. Going back to do some exploring though, we come across a horrifying sight as Wolly Bully is back and starts the epic chase scene that we are so accustomed to seeing in all mascot horror games. Ducking and dodging from corridor to corridor, we finally come across what looks like an underground tunnel. Quickly making our way over to a number pad, we take the numbers that we've seen in this said tunnel and put them in, unlocking the door in front of us at the very last second and just barely dodging the grasp of Wolly Bully. We begin making our way over to the elevator, and once inside, we quickly press the button, turning around at the last second, seeing Wolly Bully trying to open up that same gate that just shut on his face. And we finally did it, slowly ascending to freedom, or at least we thought so. That is, however, until somehow Wolly Bully rains down from the ceiling, which, to be honest, makes me think that there's probably more than one of this guy. But his weight is definitely too much for the elevator, and we begin to fall back down. As he slides from the top, he pulls us down along with him, and we're going down real fast. And just before we hit the bottom, the screen fades to black, and it says that the story will continue. So what does the future hold for Joyville? First off, I will say that this game was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it a lot. It didn't seem like a cheap money grab game at all. And the graphics and the visuals were really fun. Not to mention the storyline was short and simple, but pretty sweet. And I'm definitely looking forward to playing the next chapter. As it looks like very similar to FNAF Ruin, we have fallen to the very depths of this horrifying new warehouse. And who knows what other horrifying new monsters we will discover along the way. But that being said, that wraps up this video here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you do want to see some more Joyville, do me a big favor, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications for more awesome content just like this. But without further ado, guys, thanks for all the love and support, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, peace out!